Undead Legacy is one of the earliest full overhaul mods that existed for 7 Days to Die. The first stable version came out way back in November 2017 and is developed by Subquake. Inspiration is from other survival games like Project Zomboid, Fallout 4 and XCOM. So ladies and gentlemen, and fellow minions, what the hell is Undead Legacy? Subquake has stated that Undead Legacy is not out to make the game considerably more difficult, but instead he is interested in a richer, deeper and more immersive gameplay. The iconic green theme does seem to have been around already from Alpha 15 and is generally the first major feature that you will notice. Subquake says it has been through more than 20 different versions over the years, but players are generally very positive about it. Even though Undead Legacy presents a considerably different way of playing 7 Days to Die, people coming from the vanilla game are usually pretty awestruck by the interface and its zippy and clean feel. With some overhaul mods, the inventory, storage and the crafting menu I've noticed can sometimes be difficult to see properly due to the background. However, with Undead Legacy's interface, objects and storage show up very clear, distinct from their background, even with a lot of light coming in from the rear. The interface changes are also in the vehicle speedometer, the journal and the skill and perk pages. The skill system is overhauled and rebuilt into the modern interface theme. Just like vanilla, as you gain new levels, you add these skill points to your familiar perk tree. However, I really love it when overhaul mods also do action skills. Personally, it just makes sense that you will get better when you are learning by doing and performing certain tasks. So we have the skills section that rewards you for exploring, and while you're doing various actions like mining and hacking or shooting up zombies, it makes you better and more efficient at these tasks. Another very noticeable feature that you will pick up very soon is the weight or encumbrance system. Up until 2020 it could be turned off, but Subquake felt that too many players were ignoring a huge part of the mod, which is weight management and how you deal with it. It is also part of the vehicles, and so you can't just overburden yourself and jump into a vehicle to forget about it. Your fat ass will also be considered when you get into a car. If you're overweight, it affects the movement and eventually you'll be unable to move. Initially, I found it a problem, but further down the line as I upgraded it just, became easier. And Subquake has designed it with an advantage. You see, the bonus is that it allows you to carry an extremely large number of items. I am a hoarder. I like collecting many things, and Undead Legacy has many components and items. Even though I found myself becoming overweight at times, it was nice to pack my backpack with many items that I'd picked up. In regular vanilla, or in most overhauls, I would find myself running out of space in my backpack, even with large inventories. Yeah, I could carry thousands of steel blocks and thousands of rounds of ammunition, but I often found I would run low on space for unique items and would end up throwing stuff away or trying to scrap things while I'm searching a POI. So, how the system is designed does have some advantages over others. A lot of emphasis is placed on research in Undead Legacy. Just adding points to skills and perks will not get you new armor, tools and weapons. If you want to know how to craft something, then you need to learn it through research, or hopefully find that schematic. Schematics and recipes are very important, and it's why you have a research workstation. Now, this feature requires quite a bit of thought and some planning. Unlocking the correct schematic at the right time and saving your precious research notes is a strategy that will likely come with experience and as you play the game. Crafting is a massive feature in this mod. Subquake makes a lot of effort to keep crafting as deep and less arcade-like as possible, and there is a huge number of ingredients and materials. I can only think of Age of Oblivion mod that has many sub-ingredients, but that is just mainly to do with cooking and food. Other than that, I don't think any mod has so many ingredients and components as Undead Legacy. When crafting, you could potentially go up to 12 different ingredients for some recipes and schematics. Everything in the mod is useful. Let me say that again. Chop, hack, scrap, grind, and break down everything you can get your grubby paws on. Salvaging is very important in obtaining components, and later you will also be able to recycle objects with the Recycle Workstation. Many objects in Undead Legacy can be picked up and removed, so picking up TVs, computers, washing machines, tires, fridges, and even shop signs is something you may want to do to either sell or break down and recycle, or just decorate your pad. Of course, Undead Legacy does have a reputation of slower progress, especially if you are single player. You must work for your components, and as much as this kind of progression is not for everyone, many do prefer this type of gameplay. Don't expect to do much building in your first week. It's assumed you are going to take over or refurbish a POI. Building your own base is something that you will do much later down the line, and until that time, you are better off house sitting. However, don't think this means that you'll be pushed into a frantic race of getting things built as soon as possible. The overall progression in this mod is made so that you don't feel like you are being rushed. There are many workstations in Undead Legacy, most with upgrade tiers, and yet again, all with exquisite, beautiful, and detailed models. There are at least 13 different workstations, of which most have at least 2 or 3 levels of upgrading and one with 4. As you upgrade the workstation, the models upgrade and can change in size as well. Subquake has done a very good job in adding and cross-referencing ingredients and workstations. So, trying to figure out what is required and which workbench is needed for the hordes of craftable items is actually pretty easy. I don't think I can say how good the system works until you actually see it yourself. Even when you are looking at sub-ingredients, often you can just click the missing ingredient and it immediately takes you to that item showing you what is required. No need to even type it in the search field. Of course, this is where I can bring in remote broadcasting. Certainly at one point it seemed like broadcasting was synonymous with the name Undead Legacy. This is the ability for storage containers to broadcast their materials so that they actually appear as if they're in your inventory or backpack. So, the storage boxes I have here and around me all become part of my personal inventory. This means I can be on this floor but still have access to the containers on the roof of my base when accessing a workstation. Now, in most mods, I can take it or leave it. Yes, it does bring a convenience to crafting, but I've lived without broadcasting for so long that it doesn't really matter so much. However, bring in Undead Legacy and the hordes of components and items. In my opinion, broadcasting is quite essential in Undead Legacy, as without it, crafting will be a pain in the butt when trying to acquire so many ingredients at times. All items like various tools, weapons, and armor have a quality progression system, moving from a very low H quality, which only has 1 mod slot, up until a high quality S tier above A, which also will now come with 5 mod slots and other better stats. In Undead Legacy, you get certain mods that can be upgraded and work on the same hierarchy system as the armor and weapons. For example, this Ironbreaker mod on level C has a 19% bonus, while the same mod at S level has a percentage now on 27%. Besides picking up some of the items of different quality levels and loot, you can also upgrade things like your weapons and armor through your maintenance workstation. As much as farming and food is similar to vanilla, Subquake has of course added his own level of excellence to the same old features found in the base game. For example, when harvesting your crops and any flowers or plants in the wild, you can just pick them up with the E key. You don't have to punch. Once planted into farm plots, your crops have a timer attached to each one, which gives you a very good idea when they can be harvestable. No rain or water is currently required, just plant your seeds. Seeds are also not lost when harvesting. Now, the chicken coop is its own piece of design success. To get it going, you must actually catch hens to populate it during the crafting process. You must feed the hens each day, and similar to crops, you also have a timer that lets you know when the coop can be harvested. The same goes with beehives. Obtain a queen bee before you can craft the beehive, and your bees will also need flowers each day to successfully function. For now, you only have the main vanilla foods in the campfire. However, Subquake is planning on a food overhaul later during Alpha 21. Now, vehicles. Most overhauls have new vehicles, and Undead Legacy is no exception. Vehicles range from the usual bicycles and mini bikes, then progress to various types of motorcycles, cars and SUVs, vans, and then trucks. There are a lot of new vehicles, however, most of them are not craftable. You must repair or purchase them. For example, you can craft a gyrocopter, but if you want a better vehicle like the Raven or the DH800, it is currently something that you must purchase. However, when it comes to land vehicles, whether it is a Humvee, a military truck or SUV, you should be able to find something to repair, and they are dotted all over the map, some in better shape than others. This is where the mod shines with a very interesting repair system. You don't just get a repair kit, you don't just make a repair kit. In order to repair vehicles, you need to learn how to repair that class of vehicle first. So if you want to repair this military truck, besides the parts that are required, you must also have truck maintenance knowledge. My beginner's guide coming up next will also deal with this particular aspect of vehicle repair. Most overhaul mods either don't really bother with mining, or they will just leave the general ore nodes as they are, maybe tweak a few things here and there. Certainly not Undead Legacy. Iron, coal, lead and oil shale are still there. However, nitrate has been changed to saltpeter ore, which you must process to get potassium nitrate powder. There are also numerous byproduct resources that can be found while digging up your main ores. For example, you can also mine zinc and copper, and one of the most volatile of substances, sulfur. You can get this as a secondary product when mining saltpeter. Then we travel to the wasteland. Here you'll find titanium to make some of the most advanced upgrades, tools and weapons. If you want massive storage, then the ginormous 400 slot titanium, yes, that is correct, 400 slot storage containers are also at this tier. Later you have auto miners such as the oil auto miner and the Ore Extractor. Both are expensive to build, look magnificent, and you will need to decide whether they are actually worth it or not. As weight is a problem when you are mining, Subquake has added more advanced ways of transporting ore and resources between locations. If you are a serious miner, prone to digging up truckloads of dirt and ore, then to help support that mining habit, Subquake has provided a mining cart and later a mining truck which can hold many stacks of ore. All of this is designed and woven together to make a deeper and more interesting mining and ore gathering system. Along with the vanilla weapons, you will find yet another thing that Undead Legacy certainly excels in: well-designed weapon models. When it comes to guns, besides the usual pistols, automatic weapons, shotgun and rifle categories, there are 3 additional calibers. This is the 10mm category, such as the Falcon, and the 5.56mm category, like the R90 submachine gun. Even though I didn't really go into submachine guns, its sound effect was so satisfying that I just had it carried around as a backup. And then of course we have the 50 caliber. Even the rocket launchers have various options for you to choose from, such as the Stinger and the 4-rocket Hellfire launcher for rapid destruction. For me, I fell in love with the heavier Adjudicator machine gun. Stable and powerful, this baby just keeps on giving. Undead Legacy has many more guns, and the melee weapons is also very impressive. The vanilla type melee weapons will range from stone to steel, and then we also have the additional titanium variations. You also have a new material called chitin. This is obtained from scorpions, and you can produce various weapons from it. Your melee weapons also have many additional options with an assortment of knuckles and sledgehammers. And then of course there's even the swords and the katanas if you do prefer tickling the zombies with some more short-range destruction. Finally, we have the undead minions themselves. Now, for a long time, Undead Legacy mainly stuck to the vanilla zombies with Subquake's own additional tweaks to their behavior. They have random move patterns, and the more dangerous zombies also have random movement speed modifiers. So when you attack zombies and their health reaches a certain stage, they will at times increase their speed by a few %. So the zombies can be pretty unpredictable at times, suddenly lunging forward and hitting you. Zombie numbers have also been increased throughout the world, so don't be surprised to suddenly have 4 or 5 zombies appear from the wild when you are wandering around a POI. The Scorpion was introduced in version 2.6. These venom-inducing bastards are no joke, especially in the early and mid-game. They love to share their venom with you, and if you are in the desert, snow, or wasteland biomes, you will definitely bump into them. There are 5 variants of the Scorpions, such as the Blood and the Frostbite variants, while the Leviathan is your apex predator in the wasteland. Subquake's Scorpion models are superb, and they remind me a bit of the Fallout Rad Scorpions. Undead Legacy is a true overhaul in the sense that it changes most aspects of the game in some way. I must admit, I tend to throw the word overhaul around maybe a bit too liberally, but Undead Legacy certainly does fit that definition. There is one word that is often used to describe Undead Legacy, a word that I chose not to mention at all during my video as I got quite tired of hearing it over the months. It was Guns, Nerds and Steel during his first Undead Legacy YouTube series, first episode, while he was wandering around a trader where he coined the word, and the rest is history. I'm of course referring to the word polished. Now, as much as I got tired of hearing that mentioned by so many over the months, when trying to describe Undead Legacy, I think GNS has hit the nail on the head. It is difficult to come up with a word that better describes the attention to detail and the thoroughness that Subquake has portrayed in his mod. For that reason, I have to say polished is probably the perfect word. Overhaul mods require a lot of attention and a lot of effort and work to make them function in a balanced way, and Subquake's Undead Legacy is no exception. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next in my Undead Legacy Beginner's Guide.